Folks, thank you for coming today. Let's just begin with prayer. Precious Father, we give you thanks for this day. Thank you for this precious group of people that you have gathered here this afternoon, each trying to hear more of you and learn more of your life and of our faith in your Son, Jesus Christ. Pray, Lord, that we would know your blessing this afternoon as we explore what the next year will hold for us. May we listen attentively, ask honest questions, and give you our all. In the name of Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Looks like we've just got one or two others have just turned up.
Sheffield Diocese guest.
Sheffield Diocese guest 1, I think. Yeah. Sheffield guest 1. Oh yeah. Sheffield Diocese guest is the thing, and Sheffield guest 1 is the password. Yeah. Hello. We'll go and grab a seat. So what you can expect from today is an opportunity to meet one another. I know it's a group of you from one church, but everyone else has come from a different church. So I'm guessing that most of you have not met each other before. So that'll be really good. To begin to get our head around what's involved for doing the foundation course. I've spoken to all of you on phone or Zoom, so I've given you a little bit of my take, but it's a further opportunity to get a bit more detailed as to what next year is going to entail. Going to discover the resource centre, which is where we can get books and articles and other things from if you need them. At the end of the afternoon, Graham Sandersfield, our digital learning manager, is going to come in and he's going to just show you how the online platform works. And there's an opportunity for you to ask any questions of us as well. So these are some of the faces that you might come across. So my name's Toby. I'm the Director of Mission and Ministry. I've been in my role now for nearly 2 years. Previous to that, I was a vicar for 12 years in the Diocese of Sheffield in South Sheffield. My wife's also ordained and she's just becoming a vicar in East Sheffield. But I'm not a Sheffielder, I'm a Londoner, so my first church was in Islington, North London, and I've grown up as well. Woodseats.
Oh, that's me.
Is it?
I'm Bentsbury.
Okay, yeah, yes. So Woodseats and Norton. So St Chad Woodseats, and then I did 3 years at St James Norton as well. My wife's just starting at Healy, which is in New East Sheffield. So yeah, I'm a Londoner, but I've been here for now 14 years, so feel as much part of Sheffield as ever I did of the South as well. Bill, who you'll meet later, or you've already met some of you, he's our Director of Ongoing Ministerial Development. He's going to be teaching the first module on Scripture. Graham will be in later. He's our Learning Development Manager. He's responsible for putting everything on the website, and if there are ever any glitches, he's the one who sorts them out. Susanna is the one who sends all the emails out, and she's our administrator, and Julia manages the resource centre, so she's a point of contact. If you're struggling to get hold of books or anything like that, she might be able to push you in the right direction. So, over to you. Firstly, on your tables for a while, I want you to introduce yourselves to each other because that's a bit easy. Just introducing yourself in a big group. So, say something about where you've come from and what your hopes are for the Foundations course. And then when we've done that for a few minutes, I'll ask you briefly just to say where you've come from. Okay. Yes. Well, that's sort of the hell. It's cool. I love it. What's the plate of that's basically called problem that but this not really
There's a lot of people. So, yeah. Somebody asked me the question. So,
Also, local bits.
it's all on Jim Proper. That's what stuff.
Got I looked at this about to spend. I want it so go.
Yeah. This is a dog world. Yeah. I do feel like I'm very straight and very much speak. Insurance.
So, Simon, sure, those, you know, stuff.
Gonna do value.
We're like everybody, well, that's good. And I should put that on through the level. Show you that. If you see the chocolate, maybe else wants. Wait, one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Sure. What?
but still, off on it. Well, you trouble. Still. Well,
She arched the goal sign that says for the best. Fine. So they put it up here. Well, yeah. We didn't work out.
the biggest one. And I said, that's a believe it. You was a big guy. She got my time. Fast forward. I can no, they're fine simple women. But I can't keep that. Jenna answer. You still got something.
It's been great.
And Jen, she used to take to church.
People that show.
Big shots outside. You think you small employees this is every child.
Yes, you can find more. Roll back the screen cheese. So we can watch. Thank you, Mr. Okay, anyways, where does my start? Let's go. Yeah, and then they're not integrating.
There he is.
It's frustrating. Where is this? Stop.
Chris, you.
Since so it's assassin. They know so what can be.
Feelings. So, he's shots. Something here. He's got fire. So,
Into that.
it's right. Swap these.
Trying one starts it. So, just a lot of yes,
Watch it.
a lot. I'm really a big which now I'm one of the prisoners.
Yeah, we.
We've been away to get it up. It is now 3 or 6 years. Can we?
So I'll say that's better. It's
So much like the part. It's the moment. We wait on a rushy boss guitars and it but a drummer step down again. So and that was at 4/4.
Like small
Talent do that. And we're so fast. And so much was said. 360. It's a bit wild. Since that pretty much. So then you're back in the my so I look with Glenn shoes are wearing holiday. It's me and John. You easily swap, right? Let's have a look, see if we know it. Yeah, we know for more over other. So yeah, some simple versions and yeah, some systems. That's legal, but it should be. I chose to art. So I chose most Sunday mornings of it, but it's a little bit for practice. I think as she was doing that people like walking by plastic fashion, church, last about the ability of monster. Yeah, connection with this, she used to go to an Orthodox church and she wrote, she always just thought, wow, I thought such better than I ever used to just, you know, didn't bring me together, but then, try sometimes walking around with it. If you see me, don't just these out now, let's take me up. It's quite a, you know, so the good thing was as well, no, the boys that they switched. You know, and recently they got the Australia do that, but you know, their base that the kids they didn't.
Right, well, I hope you know to introduce yourselves a bit.
Story for another time. Yeah, part 2.
Sorry, if Emma, if we can start with you, just go around.
Yeah. So I'm Emma, and I attend St John's Parish Church in Gould, but I'm also worked there in Century Project in Family Children. I'm Helen. I worship at St James in Doncaster. I even talk which is short walk from Doncaster, and at St James you'll find me either standing on stage singing or out in the ground in the most of the time. So all that. Rachel, I'm also at Gould. And hello, I'm also from Gould.
Yeah, I'm Jonathan, and I too am on Gould. I've been going to St John's for over a year. Prior to that, I was in the Catholic Church for literally 6 years. But yeah, you've got a band.
My name's Dave Michael, I'm from near Gould. We know church in here. I worship in a church on the Old Trinity at County Park Church at Youth Birdsnake. I'm also a vocal minister. Simon, I'm from Thursker, which is like smack in the middle between Doncaster and Barnsley and Rotherham. I go to St Anne's Church in Thursker. We was in Torekna for nearly 15 years. We church warden for 30 years there. So time was nearly be up. The life sentence is almost over. And I come because I really want to develop. I want to be a vocal minister, but I want to know what else is theatrical. Great. My name's Matthew. I come from London, to see it around Barnsley. Go to the what Old Saints Parish. Yeah. Then I recommended this course to many. Happy to engage it.
Hello, and my name's Ryan Haring, and I'm from Sheffield Cathedral. I was just saying to these guys, I didn't know anything about this foundation course. I utility visiting priests said to me about the course and that I should attend it and things like that. My aims and outcomes of this, I don't actually know what I'm kind of like water. I'll take the shape of whatever I felt really. But I'd like to learn more about Bible and things to do with the Bible, because there's many passages that I don't truly understand the true meaning of it. I mean, it's not that the English is complex, it's that there's a meaning behind it that's not so obvious, if that makes sense.
Bill will be the man who will explain all, won't you?
Yeah. No problem.
I think the reason they said to me about it's because I was asking loads of questions about ordination. So I think that they take as you know, as essential can be to have a hot. But then, thank you, like.
No, but I finished modelling in the years. I moved up from Cambridgeshire 2 years ago. Because of what the minister, very much part of the church family was children. Well, just to learn to see this was available right away for you.
I'm Jackie Crawford, and I'm sorry for eating in class.
That's quite a There are more biscuits here if you want it.
Triple the lot.
So Pam also from St John's in Gould.
Oh,
I know.
the size of it.
Yeah. And yeah, very similar to everybody's story. It's like that because you know my faith has grown over the years, and I'm now retired. I was a social worker for many years, and now retired. So I feel as though I can really concentrate on my faith and explore what's God's calling for me in the years to come.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing, everybody. And you're going to get to know each other pretty well over the next year. And one of the really delightful things about foundations is by the time I come to do the teaching in the third term, you can just tell just how well people know each other and they're sharing. It's really nice. And I've been teaching on this course for 8 years, I think, and I haven't had anyone from Gould up to now. And I now thought I've broken the record because the previous record was 4, which came from Bradfield in the West of Sheffield. So Gould now hold a record for 5. So Hannah gets a massive gold star from me. So you've all signed on the dotted line, pretty much. You've all had your conversations with me. What have you let yourself in for? So, who is involved in doing foundations? Well, the first thing is it's where you are based. So one of the reasons that we insist that everybody who comes on foundations does so with the support of their vicar, or if there's that you're in a vacancy with PCC, is because your church are involved in you being here, and they've sent you to us because they've seen something in you, and they think, oh, there's some, you're asking interesting questions, and perhaps God's got something for you, and so it'd be really great for you to explore that over the year. But when they send you to us, they don't wash their hands of you. They are still there supporting you. So your vicar, oversight minister, is an important part of this. And we would want them to meet with you regularly throughout this year. We'd recommend if they can meet with you a couple of times a term, that'd be great. I mean, Ryan, the cathedrals were slightly more complicated.
I really didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, Dean Abbey has her own very extensive diary. So conversations with people like Justin, or you've got a new curate there, haven't you? Her name, she's just been ordained. Or Richard and Anne, the classic.
Richard and Anne will do those are the 3.
Yeah.
Richard and Anne.
Yeah.
And Justin, as the people that it was Richard and Anne that actually did my confirmation, and they were the ones that mentioned this and pushed me.
Yeah. And so I would suggest getting in touch with Richard and Anne and saying, coming in every couple of months to talk in Elm Explore and stuff, and that'd be absolutely fine. Any of you here can't remember? Yes, St James Doncaster. Helen, you don't have a drink.
Yeah, well, we've got members of our congregation have someone who he was a missionary bishop in South America,
Right.
and we've got a permanent deacon who's a hospital chaplain.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 people who. Yeah,
The bishop.
I've got to live in the middle. He's in the eccentric, as a James. So yeah. So and they're both in the same serving parts of development.
Okay, great.
So,
You got
yeah,
things to talk
there's,
to.
yeah.
Great, good. Then there's the foundations team. So I'm really happy to receive any emails from you. Anything you sent us today, and that will get passed on to us as well. The course tutors, you'll have Bill in the autumn term. Bill will talk through scripture with you. Ali, who will teach mission, and then me will teach history of Christian faith. And so we really, particularly when it comes to kind of reflective exercises, if there's anything that you feel unclear about, we're really happy to receive any emails, and we can give you recommendations, things to watch or read, whatever as well. That's helpful as well. So we will park this, and we've got a good support team down here to try and make sure everything runs smoothly. But importantly, there is you as well, because this is we try to make this very much adult learning. So you're not at school, and that means that we try and work together as equals in all this, and it's what we can learn from each other. So from your perspective, it's trying to make sure that you've got your time booked out and you're able to do what needs to be doing, being responsible for your own learning and to the parish as well. I don't know if any of you are heavily involved in parish duties. I suspect you've been at church for 30 years. You probably are. Sometimes we get people on foundations who may be doing stuff up front, like preaching and things, and we'd say for this year, try and cut back on that because there's other stuff that'll be going on just now. What does it include? Well, it includes this word formation, which is a word you come up quite often when you talk about vocation, about Christian calling. Formation isn't just about learning. Formation is about being changed. So some boring it talks about how we get unveiled faces on Jesus and we change from glory into glory. And the Christian life should be one of being changed from one degree of glory into another as we and spend more time with Jesus, more time in prayer, more time in his word. And this is part of that. So as we learn more about what God may have in store for each one of us, there's that sense of being formed more into the character plus. And Bill's going to be talking to us later about reflective learning and how to reflect well on what we're learning. That's part of what it is to be formed and reflective, who are able to see who we are, see what we're learning, see where we're being challenged, and just kind of incorporate it into ourselves a bit more. So formation is an important part of it. There is learning. It is a course, as I've said to all of you. I think it's not an academic course. But you don't come out of this with a recognised qualification. You'll get a nice certificate at the cathedral at the end of it. But yeah, that's kind of good. But you're not going to come out with a BA honours in theology or anything like that. And I know that for some of you that would be the last anyway. But it is an exercise of using your minds as well as the rest of yourself as well. So attending the sessions on Zoom or here are important. We learn together, engaging with whatever pre-work there might be beforehand. You might be watching a video, might just be reading next out, and tackling some of the reflective exercises. Again, it's an important thing which your brain and your reflective nature are working together. But as I've said to all of you, the exercises that we give, they're not graded, so you don't come out with an A star or a B minus or anything like that. So if you're one of those ultra competitive people who always want to be getting A's, I'm sorry, you won't find out just how good you are here. They are there in order for us to work with you in reflecting and thinking about how what you're learning is changing you and the way you're thinking. And as I've again said to all of you, sometimes we get people who have already got 1 or 2 degrees. Often we get people who get to school at 16. And we try our hardest
to pitch it to the level in which those who have got very high learning achievements and those who don't feel so confident in they could still get something right to it. Feedback is important for us. We do change the way we teach and stuff we put in as to how we're responding and how people are responding to us. So if stuff is really not ticking your box, it's just helpful us to know that, so we can keep the future years mainly not pitching it much.
So skills and gift identification and development. But alongside the learning is the discerning. And as I've said to you all, I think it's the listening and the learning course. The learning and the studies, and the listening is about you listening to God, and that's listening to you as well. On the first Saturday of we have 3 Saturdays mornings, and the first of those, which is in November, we look at our gifts, our passions, what God through His Holy Spirit has given us to shape us for service in His church. There's a questionnaire that my colleague Dan gives out, and you're encouraged to find someone in your church. It could be a friend, could be a vicar, could be someone you minister on the side, to go through and look at, think, well, which gifts do I have? Am I really strong in communication? Am I really strong in compassion for the poor, for instance? And they're giving you a little bit of a 360-degree review to help you think, let me see other people see me. Maybe this is the kind of area God might be calling me into. And Dan and the vocations team talk us through that, so that then in the second term, we have a Saturday morning where we meet with you individually, and we have a conversation about, okay, tell me a little bit about where God has been leading you up to now. How did that skills and gifts question go? Where do you think your shape might be in Jesus' church, and what might that look like? And that goes along with this sense of discernment of calling. Some of you here have already been asking the question, ordination, is that right for me? Am I called to preach, lead a ministry? Some of you, those questions are not even on the radar, but you're kind of asking yourself, sure, there's somewhere I can do more for Jesus. What does it look like? And at the end of our year, for some people, you will have found the shape that you fit, and it might be an established ministry in the church. So I know that the foundations course that we're running at the moment, I think we've got 2 people who are now exploring ordination. We've got 1 person exploring leading ministry, and there might be another looking at parish evangelist. The roles are out there, and they found the roles that really seem to fit them. That's why God's calling them. But they are fewer than half the group. The other group are still asking those questions, and we're walking alongside them. So what might it look like? What doors do you think you need to push now? So the discernment of where Jesus is calling you is part of this as well. Being part of a learning community and being together and sharing your insights could be quite a lot of group work throughout that session, because again, it's adult learning. It's not just that up front teaching you stuff. It is about being a community of learning together, and the mentor groups, which you need throughout being part of that as well. And fun, and I hope you do it fun. Because my experience is that most people do. So expectations, I know I've been through with you all before. I would say this is a perfect size group. We've had 14 have signed up, possibly 1 or 2 more from the I don't know that yet, but the ideal size group for me is between about 12 and 18, and at the moment we've got 14. So that is brilliant. It's absolutely perfect. But that still means that if on any one Sunday there's 3 or 4 people who are absent, it just feels a little bit diminished. So I know there are always challenges. There are weekends when weddings crop up, or we're taken ill or whatever. They're unavoidable things, so don't stress about that. But do try, if you can, be here on the Sunday afternoons the Wednesdays on Zooms, the 3 evening the 3 Saturdays, and the occasional meetings with your foundation mentors, which I'm in the process of setting up.
Is it just the weddings days, that's the Zoom and everything else is here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. There are tasks between sessions in your own time. We try to make these as light as possible. My expectation is that there shouldn't be more than half an hour if it's reading or watching something. But you'll get more out of it if you're able to engage with those. There's that balance between your involvement in parish life, but not too much. So part of us discerning where God calls us is actually testing things out. So if you're sensing, for instance, that you'd really like to, you sense God is leading you to be a bit more of a Bible teacher, then if there are Bible study groups in church, then by all means go to vicar or leader and say, yeah, I'd like to have an opportunity to really run the Bible group sessions. Or if there's a net course, I really like to be involved in a net course. Yeah. So if there are opportunities just to test out where your gifts are, then do push those doors, but not at the expense of finding yourself on a road trip every Sunday doing something, because that's not what it's about. Good time management. It's not an academic course, so extensions are available for reflective practice exercises. You don't fail if you're a week late. Do please let us know. But it's easier for everyone, including yourselves, if you're able to just see where the deadlines are. Okay, this is how I need to do my exercise by then. And keeping in touch. So do please let Susanna know, or of course tutor know, if you're not going to be able to attend something. We do our absolute best to record everything. So this is being recorded at the moment. It will go on the website. The 3 people who aren't here, they'll be able to catch up with this later on. Susanna is there to let you know when things are available, or when things are on the website. Do please let Susanna know if you're unable to attend or if your contact details change. Engaging with the vocational exploration, already talked through that. Dan, my colleague, will talk a lot more about that in November. Work with the Foundation's mentor group. So a little bit on these, because I know that I've only mentioned them in passing. We have 3 mentors scattered around the diocese who are there to work with you. Now, for those of you in Gould and Snave, so there's 6 of you, I've asked Carol Rashid, your new curate, your mentor, because it just didn't seem fair to send you all to Sheffield or something when you're all based in that part of the diocese. So Carol will be your mentor. She's really looking forward to that. Carol was on the school administration years ago. I probably taught her when she was a reader, so she was herself part of a mentor group that most people like. But the others, I'm just sorting these out, Susanna. Mentor groups are there so that in a small group together you can talk more specifically about your own sense of where God has called you, the joys, the frustrations that you're experiencing in life. They are groups that meet as a part of the Foundation's course, but we don't regularly get feedback from them. So they are there as a kind of relatively confidential space for you to just talk about things. And I'll try my hardest to ensure that no one has to travel too far, but online meetings are available as well. It will depend on who is running it. So they might book a church out locally where people come to. They might be online, they might be events. So I know that you've got some work issues happening. So again, work out whether it might be a hybrid meeting, might be what best for you. We can get around these things. continue your lifelong learning journey of Christian discipleship. This is only 1 year in the much bigger story of what God is doing in your life. I hope it's an important year and an enjoyable year. It's only 1 year. So this is, I hope, something of a springboard for where you go from here, what you explore from here. IT skills are helpful, but do let us know if they're going to struggle. Do let us know particularly if for any reason you're struggling to have, say, broadband at your home or things like that, which does happen from time to time. Hybrid is great, it means people don't travel, but actually if people got really poor internet, then it's more difficulty. Just let us know if there are any issues. We'll do our best to try and help you. I don't think anyone here has told me that they're strongly dyslexic. Your slides. Okay. If there's ways we can help you line in terms of what we print out,
It's not reading right for me, but it's sequencing and working memory.
okay.
They're my problems. So if I'm writing massive essays, it doesn't flow properly, and I get to a point where I'm repeating what I've said previously.
You won't be writing massive essays.
I hope not. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, right. I'm saying that.
But in terms of what we produce, you'll rotate white, black and white paper.
Yeah, I mean, like this example, it's really weird. They said I was a higher functioning dyslexic.
Right.
Well, I'm a higher functioning.
Yeah. You got a PhD, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Reasonably high functioning.
Yes.
So, briefly about the course, as you know, because I know you've all looked materials, three topics. The Bible, we'll be looking about what the Bible is, how we got there, how we reflect on it, different genres, how we understand parts of the Bible, and also our own reflections on it. So that hits us off. Then Ali, who is a pioneer, a mission priest in the diocese, she comes in the second term. She talks about mission in all its forms. What does it look like to be mission in terms of the environment, in terms of telling people about Jesus, in terms of social action or outreach. So really various course she gives. And then I'll bring the third one, which is on why do we believe what we believe? What does it mean to say that we believe that God is Trinity? Why did Jesus die on the cross? All these sorts of things. I'm always last because mine is apparently the scariest one, but I hope that won't be the case.
It's the one where I probably get a lot of questions.
I'm sure you will, Ryan. I'm happy to answer those questions. And the last session we do on Zoom, I keep blank all the questions that we haven't answered to see whether we can make some headway with them. Reflective exercises for each module. How many short projects to complete? I don't know if that's true anymore, is it, Bill?
And we short projects.
I thought the short projects were the reflective exercises.
Yes, it's just, each term is two exercises, which you either write or you record and present orally.
Yeah.
So no, I think that may be.
I think it's an old slide that needs to be
historic. Yes.
Yeah. There are no short projects.
What are we aware of?
Nothing we're aware.
See to a lot.
Bill, what are your reflective exercises, for instance?
Yeah, we have two for each module. We've tended to avoid the A word assignments because that spooks some people. It depends how you react to these things. But so the first one in my module you'll see is about choose one of these three Bible passages and dig into it, explore it, see what it's all about. And the second one is more about look at your own experience, especially what you've been learning this term, and dig into that and reflect on that and help us understand that. And we give a sort of broad range of, try and write, if you're writing, try and write at least 800 words not more than 1,500 words. So it's quite a big spectrum there. If writing is a struggle, then talk to us. And so someone recorded last year. In fact, she recorded an interview, I think, with her daughter, which is rather interesting.
Well, yeah, that's doing that for me as well.
So that was another way to do it. So that's another way to convey. It's a matter of showing us what you've been learning, and helping us to understand that. And then we, as Toby said, we don't go for marks, because marks are a bit of a mixed blessing that can be a sort of bend you out of shape emotionally with either the elation or the annoyance about marks. But we do give feedback. So we respond to what you presented. This is really interesting. I didn't quite understand that bit. Can you explain this more? So we give feedback on what you produce. Does that give some kind of picture?
Yes. So in my course at the end, I think the 2 assignments I've changed them this year because again feedback previously suggested that people found them a bit confusing. This year I'm asking you to pick a favourite hymn or worship song or whatever, and look at what it says about God, and then apply to what it says about God in the worship song or hymn to some stuff you've been learning on my module. So some of which hopefully is a bit practical. Another assignment will be reflective exercise. We'll be asking you to choose between different scenarios, like sort of explaining why Jesus had died to a couple seeking baptism, talking about what the Christian hope is for somebody who's just got someone they love. It's those sort of things. So whereas in previous years, particularly when this is part of what could turn into a foundation degree, there were more essay-based things. So they discuss early church Christology and major heresies and that kind of thing. We've moved very decisively away from that. It's not that we don't learn about these things, we do, but actually we want you to reflect on how this is grounded in your day-to-day life. All of us, I suspect, we've been in church this morning, or we've sung hymns or worship songs, and so often we sing these things and we don't necessarily think about what we're singing, and sometimes what we're singing might actually like. And it's an opportunity for us to get into just look at something practical that happens in our Christian life. Okay, how what my learning is impacting on actually my practice be. And there is this golden thread of theological reflection running throughout as we think about what it means to be Christians and have our own understandings changed, affirmed. The church leaders, they should encourage and support you, they should be praying for you, they should be affirming you, and as I mentioned, they need to be giving some time for you in order to reflect with them. I suppose they should meet with you at least twice a term. And ideally, and again, it just depends the context. Cathedral, it's always different because harder to have some opportunities there. But ideally, there are opportunities for you to explore and exercise your gifts if possible. Sometimes that might just mean shadowing other people, or even having just a conversation. So maybe Ryan, again, in terms of the cathedral, sitting down with Justin and saying, Justin, we've got an hour to tell me about what you do and what ministry's like. What's it like being a Catholic mission in the cathedral? And they will be given the questionnaire to help you. I should say 24. It's 25, actually 2 years. 2 years out of that one, isn't it? They'll be given that to help them assess where you are in terms of the different gifts God has given you, and update the PCC. And they have been sent all this information with a contract, which is quite a big word really for what they're actually asked to do. They are asked to just sign off their agreement that you're on the course, and that they will support you.
What is PCC?
Again, doesn't apply to cathedrals. Cathedrals don't have them. Every other church, and I suspect the word it doesn't apply to you, but it might come up to so when you with the cathedral. Parish and parochial church council, it's definitely body, the board of trustees. The cathedral has a chapter of canons. The support structures that you have, you've got your training context, you've got your incumbent, your PCC, you've got me and the team here, Dan and the vocations team, mentor groups, you've got the course tutors, and you've got the rest of you here, your peers, those learning alongside with you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
One more question. You said about mentors for a while, and obviously most people in Goa.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that in this area, it would be someone from the your Sheffield area.
So we've got at the moment, there's Carol at Gould. I've got 3 others. One of whom is on sabbatical at the moment. There's Fiona, who is based in Barnsley. There is Amanda, who's based in Sheffield, and there's Peter, who's based in London. So we do have
Okay.
so we have them scattered throughout, and we try out, depending on the size of the group. So you don't want to mentor groups smaller than 4. So we normally have these 3 of those mentors, and we'll try and base it where we are. But it's always slightly complex, and I know that obviously Ryan, you work with students, and Helen, you don't have public transport. That's potential issues, particularly this morning.
Yeah.
So just trying to work out we'll find a way of working that out. It may mean doing stuff with hybrid, so you can physically.
Oh, yeah, we have to check the government. Peter, I didn't realise I just put the
Right.
that I had to have the
Oh no,
so I only asked Peter.
it's a K.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, that actually will be Carol.
Right.
Well done for taking.
Apologise.
Well done for taking the initiative. Yes, finally, safeguarding is really important. We're not safeguarding trainers, so we don't teach safeguarding as part of this. Many of you will have done safeguarding because you've already got roles in what church would demand it. If you haven't, there is a short online safeguarding training course. There is a link on the website. It's about 45 minutes.
Yeah, sorry, I'm full of questions.
It's okay. It's all right.
Apologise. Safeguarding. Are you talking from the point that you were vulnerable adults and children?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I work for the Home Office, so I've got security clearance. I don't know. Is that the equivalent of safeguarding?
It's safeguarding is context driven. So, for instance, when I was a parish priest, and I was an epidemics chaplain, so I had safeguarding training with the church, and I had MOD clearance. Neither of which would allow me to go on a school trip with my children because I need to get school safeguarding as well, and that's sort of how it works.
I mean, I'm full on fitness instructor as well, and I had to have an enhanced DBS. It's under 16s coming to mind. I don't know, is that?
You still need to do the church safeguarding training because it's specific to church life. So again, school, church, army, sports instructors, that they all have to do this stuff, but there will be a safeguarding that's slightly different in each context. It needs to the safeguarding training for its constitution. It's on the Moodle link induction page. So when Graham comes in to do his stuff, and you have access to Moodle, you will find the link on there.
I know actually it's saying it's the two levels. Simply stop the next level, and it said it was free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need to pay anyone to do it, and he's
Still free because
it's
it's level. Yeah.
it's easier than what it was. Just at any time over the bonus next year.
Okay.
So if you just make sure you establish something. Yeah. Right. Right, I'll throw the questions. You may have more, but does anyone else have any questions for you?
like a couple. You might have mentioned it. The amount of words that's not the
church is full of acronyms.
yeah. Rest of them. I think the Home Office can top TLAs.
Yeah.
TLAs and 3-letter acronyms. I'll just fill up the coffee pot there.
Well, actually, we've got more than 3-letter acronyms. We've got acronyms for like five words and 6 words and stuff. Department for leveling up, rolling the block.
Yeah. So I guess it saves time, doesn't it?
Yeah. Just if you like about should I what? So now it's that.
Any other questions? Bill, they've gone to small two.
So, in terms of the 3 terms,
Yeah.
there's the Bible studies, which I'm assuming is going to be scriptures, and things like that. And would you be talking about? Would you delve into stuff like, because obviously the Bible came from the Torah, but it was translated into Greek by the Romans, which was the language in that region. It wasn't Latin.
Yes.
So would it be going into stuff like that?
You do some of that, don't you, Bill?
Sorry, I was.
Translation.
Yes, but
How the Bible came to be.
yeah, we look more at what we've got now because we have a bewildering mass of versions in English, which we need to navigate. So we look at that and look at how the different versions function, how the interpreters, some are more literal, some are more equivalent. So we look at more of that rather than the actual history of how it came through to us, because there's a limit to what we can do. But obviously we can give you further reading stuff in terms of a particular area that grabs you. Then you can always dig into that yourself, which is part of the spin-off of the stuff we do in class.
Yeah, so I mean, like, in that I was going to ask, do you say why certain gospels were chosen and others weren't? You know, Council of Nicaea, why certain gospels were chosen to be in the Bible and others weren't, and things like that. Do you go through stuff like that?
I'll touch on that, but it might come up.
Touch a bit of mine. So in my course, when we look at the formation of the early church, we look at some of the heresies and some of the gospels, like the Gospel of Thomas, that doesn't make it into canon, and why, when you read that, it seems so different to the other gospels. So yeah, it's a bit of overlap there.
Yeah. And again, I've got something I actually wrote about the Gospel of Thomas some years ago, which I could send you away if you were interested in it. If that particular topic grabbed you, I can always pass it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's getting a bit more into the details. I think today's more the broad brush stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
You put more coffee on.
Well, there's that one there, and I've just refreshed the hot water.
Brilliant. Okay.
So I hope that.
Right. Well, let's have a 10-minute turnaround, and I'll pass over to Bill.
Yep. Sure. It's too coffee. It's like I was going like iced coffee for tomorrow morning, I suppose, but it's better drunk today. Okay. Thinking about this business of studying our faith and what we believe. That's the bit we'll do now in the middle section. And then the next break, we'll have a space where you can actually have a browse at the resource centre, which is part of what's here at Church House. Just get a bit of an orientation to that if you've not seen it before. So yeah, thinking about this what we call theology, which is kind of what this course is. It's a broad foundation of theology. So what's theology about? It's thinking about what we believe, putting it simply. What do we believe as Christians? Thinking about that, trying to make sense of that, refining that, deepening it, reshaping it. That's the core of what we're trying to do. The word theology is from theos, which is the Greek word for God, and logos, the Greek word for word. Words about God. And of course, that can come in different forms. How do we experience words? We hear words, conversations, we speak words to other people. We might read words if we're reading is our kind of thing, or writing words. And writing is what we enjoy to do. So human beings, we are word people. It's a kind of human thing in different cultures, different languages, different accents. But all across the world, down the centuries, human beings do words. It's just a basic thing we do. And of course, there's a lot in our faith about that. In the beginning was the Word, and that God seems to believe in words. And Jesus is pictured as the Word of God. So yeah, words, God words is really what this word is about. Augustine, North African bishop, there are two Augustines, but this is the North African one, Augustine of Hippo, region of northern Africa. One of his many memorable phrases is about faith seeking understanding. So we believe, but we also try to understand what we believe. And as we understand more, it deepens and broadens what our faith is, what we actually believe.
Sorry, you mean by Augustine?
Augustine, he's an early church leader, bishop who's written a lot of very influential stuff. So 5th century, was he, Toby? So he was from North Africa, but through his writings, he became very influential, and those writings have lasted and come down to us and are still influential. And some people really love them, others react against them. But he's one of the significant theological figures from the early church. It's known as the early church father from that kind of era. There's another Augustine of Canterbury, who came from Rome and began the church in this country in the south, shortly after the Celts and the Irish had come and begun it in the north from Ireland. But that's a different Augustine, so there's slight confusion on the names. So let's just think about what you feel about thinking. Thinking is the understanding bit, but also we are feeling people. And so we are whole people. So holistic thing of what do I think, what do I understand, but also what do I feel about this course and about studying. Round your tables, you've got 3 set of post-it notes. And I'd like just to sort of talk, and as a result of talking, just scribble on those. As you think about this course, getting started on foundations, what is there that excites you about it, that energizes you and makes you think, yes, I want to get going now, kind of thing? What's the exciting stuff that makes you buzz? And then scribble any of that on the green post-it notes. Anything that causes anxiety when you think about launching into this course? Is there anything that concerns you? Think, oh, I'm not sure about doing that, or I'm not sure how I'll get on with that. Sure I can manage this. Any anxiety things? That's for the orange ones. And what are your questions? That's for the yellow ones. As you think about this thing of theology, of studying what I believe, what are the questions that you would love to explore in the course of the year of studying what it is you believe? What are your sort of the things that bug you or fascinate you in terms of theology, of studying our faith and going deeper into it? If those aren't big enough for you, you can stick them together. So you can make 2 or 3, like a chain, or make a long question. That's fine. Just do what you do. But talk about that around tables, and out of your talking, just try and do some scribbling. And then at the end, where should we put them? We might as well put, let's say we'll put the orange ones on that picture there, and the green ones can go on that picture, and the select the yellow ones questions, just put them on the door here, and then I'll sort of collect them all in and have a look at them. Is that all right? But spend 10 minutes just talking about these things. What's exciting? What makes you anxious? And what are your questions? And see what you can come up with. Is that clear? Is that all right? Okay, just have a few minutes in culinary on this, just and then I'll try and read these. Yeah, what about these questions here? Why do this? What might be the consequences if we don't do this? Particularly if we're people who may be exploring ministry and so on. Any thoughts on these?
We know what we believe individually and where it comes from, and that's why other people think differently. You've got to have some insight into that before you can go anywhere with that information.
Yeah. So if we're going to be involved in helping others in their faith, then we obviously think, what is our faith? What do I believe? And you also mentioned why other people believe differently. Yes. So there's things on which we don't always agree. So why do some see it this way, some see it that way? That's an important angle as well, I think. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Over here, this table on it. Anything you come up with?
I think there's a lot of applications to scripture, but ultimately it's really one meaning. That's all I would see. It's the one we're teaching. To make sure we understand what it means in order to let other people understand. To get if we adjust it, twist it, redact it, fashion, ultimately we could, it's bad theology, so we can't lead people astray.
Right. So we don't want to lead people astray. We want to help them find the meaning.
Got to be sound.
Yeah.
It's got to be taught from a sound basis, foundation.
So yes, you mentioned whether there's one meaning but multiple applications, because there's certainly many different applications of a Bible passage, and is there one meaning? That's always interesting as well. So, yeah, thank you. Over here on the table, I want to chip in on why this might help.
Very simply, just about to have a deeper understanding about behind what God's trying to tell us within scriptures, and particularly like the parables and the psalms, and understanding who's saying those, understanding the situation that person's in and how God's and has helped them in that situation. And just maybe I can read some of the Bible and I have to look at it and I think I've not got what all that means. But it's going back and exploring it further and rereading it and maybe reading some other literature around that.
Yeah,
or talking it through Bible studies and how.
But then why is that important for those who are getting involved in ministry? That's the how we do it and how do we deepen it. Why?
Because I think how can you sit with another person and support them through that learning and that exploration if you don't understand what that meaning is.
It's about being a role model. Let's take religion out of the equation. You get somebody who, like if you go into the business world, you can get somebody that absolutely knows nothing about business, but the way they speak, the way they present themselves, the way they come across, they can get people to listen to them through that. Yeah. Right. Whereas you could be the most confident person, but as soon as you're unable to articulate the way your message, then it's not going to reach the people that you want. So I think it goes back to as well as having kind of point of view of you need to know what you're talking about in order to carry people along with you, because ultimately you will get found out if you don't know what you're talking about. And I think there needs to be like a general consensus on what things mean. We were talking about this previously. Interpretation is everything. One person's interpretation of scripture, it could be completely different to somebody else's. And finding that middle ground then creates like an organization, so to speak. And it's with that other people start buying into that, things like that. So it's being a role model as well. I think if you know your business and people can see you know your business, so to speak, then you'll carry people with you. If you don't look like you know what you're talking about, people are just gonna shut off.
And equally, sometimes you find people who have a great charisma, but actually underneath it, maybe don't know what thereabouts. So the charisma in itself can be deceptive.
Yeah.
So yes, you want to know and to share. Yes, and work out this whole thing of just different interpretations of it, which there certainly are. Can there be more than one meaning in a Bible passage, especially in a story? Is something we'll explore next term.
I think as well, you've got to understand what your own belief is before you can actually start talking to other people about it, because they can suddenly undermine you in the way that they speak, and it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. Whereas if you've gone through with the theology and everything else, you then understand what your own personal belief is and where it goes. I think you can discuss with other people. And it's not like they're wrong and you're right. It's about induction.
Yeah, it's exactly what Jesus went through. With the Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin could send people out to question Jesus, to trip him up, so that in front of all of his congregation that he was speaking to, to try and make him look stupid, effectively. And he's started that,
And I think my caveat is to say, certainly to know what we believe and what we're about. Although my experience is that the more I learn, the more I discover my ignorance, which is a rather fascinating thing in life. I always think learning is a bit like starting off in a track in a forest in quite an enclosed space and asking more questions. And then I find myself coming out of the forest and seeing the valley. The picture opens up and then the track goes up onto a ridge, and I get to that ridge, and then suddenly there's a whole load more stuff I can see on the other side of the ridge I didn't know was there, and then I'm going up towards this summit. And it's sort of the higher you climb, the more the vista unfolds of stuff you haven't explored yet. There's all this countryside out there that I hadn't actually seen when I was down in the forest, in the valley. So it's one of the sort of mysteries and wonders of learning is it opens up a sense of how much more there is for me to learn and to explore and to see.
I realise you start learning how much you don't know.
Yes, that's right. You discover there's all sorts of questions you haven't even thought of asking. So that can be quite bewildering. Thank you. Let's have a quick look. We have another break and look at the resources. Let me just have a quick look at what you put down here. It's quite a lot of green ones, which is nice. I'm glad to see there's stuff that you find exciting. I'll just have a look at some of these. Being grounded in theological foundation, having greater understanding, new directions and new horizons. That's kind of what I've just been describing, in a sense, climbing higher and seeing the bigger horizon. Pursuing God's calling, that's one that someone finds exciting, and developing new skills. Excited to learn and have a deeper understanding of God's calling. Similar again, just the excitement of learning and also of calling. Now, for some of us, calling could be an anxiety thing. We'll see what's on the orange ones as well. Getting an understanding of passages. So that's looking probably particularly at the Bible again. See what God's going to do next. Yes, that's nice. Seeing what God's going to do next, which might be in my own life, through me, and involvement with others in ministry and the church. Embracing new challenges with diverse people with a united interest. That's nice. So embracing new challenges, that could be more of an anxiety thing, but this is as a exciting thing. Embracing new challenges with diverse people. Yeah, so there's different people in the group, and that's part of what's interesting in the foundations, having people we haven't previously met and might otherwise never have met, but we've got this united interest of wanting to learn and grow in our faith and work out what God's calling might be. But the dots will join up, so everything becomes clear. Things that don't make sense at the moment will. Okay, so there's a sense of expectation and faith there that things that are not necessarily clear now will become clearer. The dots will join up. New learning, developing my own knowledge. What's next for me? Learning through a course. Okay, so someone likes the idea of a course that's maybe more systematic, regular, repeated maybe. Learning for myself what God's purpose is for me, not just going with what other people tell me. Okay, so this sense of working out for myself what God's purpose might be for me. finding some clarity. What is my role? Learning new things from new people, growing as Christian. We haven't had the word growing before, have we? The idea of growing in faith, growing as people. That's part of the formation thing that Toby mentioned earlier. But the idea of growing and developing, not just staying as we are. Right, thank you for that. Quick look at some of the anxieties. Life, unexpectedly clashing with the course. Yes, yes, stuff happens. Life happens. Can be family, it can be work, it can be illness, it can be all kinds of things. So yeah, and that is something that we recognize. Life does happen. Being judged, and my faith may not appear as strong as others. That's interesting. So yes, in the groups, can we have enough confidence among each other not to feel that we're being judged, or equally for those of us at the front, not to feel that I'm judging you for anything you say. We always say there's no question that's too daft. Sometimes people are afraid to ask questions because they think I look stupid, but actually there's no question that's too daft, and the questions often is what opens up the learning. Yeah, don't worry about what others will think. If you ask that question, just ask it and see where it goes. Stepping out of my comfort zone. Yes, we'll talk about that a bit more on Wednesday. The comfort zone, stepping out of that. Learning isn't always comfortable. It may surprise me. It may challenge me. Yeah, sometimes it can be quite uncomfortable being presented with a different perspective that I've never really wrestled with, or else I've pushed away and don't agree with. But others would expect me to know everything straight away. Okay. But others outside the course, I wasn't sure if others might meant the teacher or the leaders, but others outside the course. So this might refer perhaps to others in the church who've encouraged you to come here, and maybe they're expecting that you'll come back and know everything. I'm not quite sure if that's the idea of it, but concerned that others will expect me to know everything straight away, which of course isn't the case. As I said, even as our learning grows, then we discover that there's horizons of our own ignorance. So in that sense, we never get close to knowing everything, but we hopefully do learn more. Anxiety, what I pop into the computer vanishes again. You ever had that experience? I think I've worked out why some of it disappeared before. Okay, so there's a hopefulness that someone feels they're taming the computer, but it still consumes things and doesn't say where they've gone. So yes, computers, handling tech is a wonderful mixed blessing of our world. Of course, we do need to use it more and more, but handling that, Graham hopefully will reassure you a bit in the third session about navigating the Moodle system. That I won't be able to keep up with everyone else. Yeah, that's interesting. That may be a reflection on other people might know more than me, or it might be I'm a slow thinker. Personally, I'm a slow reflective thinker. In any conversation or interview, my best answer usually arrives about 3 hours too late, because that's just how my brain works, which means I'm rubbish at interviews. But yeah, different people work in different ways. So that can be difficult. If you're a quick thinking extrovert, you may wonder why this other person is slow to respond, but that's certainly what I'm like. The word theology causes some anxiety for somebody. Can God use me, and how? Yes, can God really use me with all my limitations is a question I think many of us wonder, but experience down the years suggests that God does use all kinds of people, including me. That the call and my purpose isn't clear. Okay, that's an interesting one. We're trying to discern a sense of calling, but what if it isn't clear? Toby mentioned the group that's finishing foundations. Some of them have got a clear sense of direction and calling, others haven't yet. So the calling thing is kind of going on beyond just this 1 year, which I suppose for some might be a disappointment. You might hope at the end of the year I've got it sussed and sorted, but not everyone finds it that way. Being older, as my age, medical conditions affect my ability to learn. So that's another source of concern. Age and health issues, are those a factor? If there are any particular health issues that we can take account of, then just have a quiet word and let us know what they are, because that's always important and valuable for us who are leading. Learning and studying in later years. So there's something again about not being as young as we used to. Work-life balance. I suppose for some of us, it may be a long time since we did any formal study. Perhaps left school longer ago than we can even remember. Haven't done much sort of regular systematic study since. So that can be an anxiety thing. And work-life balance, that whole thing we started with, of life getting in the way. Will I receive support from my parish? That's an interesting one. Will the parish be supportive in all kinds of ways? Financial support, ministry opportunities, understanding why I have to step off that rota for this year, otherwise it'll just be too much. There's different dimensions in which we do need support from the parish. The challenge of learning, is that where I start? Again, that may be a similar one. The challenge of learning what the future holds. Parish-based support won't be as flexible or available as it needs to be. So again, concerns about parish life unexpectedly clashing with the course. That's where we began. Thank you for those. Those are all quite important things. And if any of those continue to be concerns, again, do have a word just individually with me or with those around you. If any of those anxieties do raise real issues. Is that a hand raised, or are you just having a stretch? Just having a stretch. Okay, that's fine. That's also permitted. Yeah. Thank you. I'll just briefly go through the questions. Thank you for coming up with lots of good stuff. Where will this lead? It's a good question. That's again presumably linked with the calling and vocation. It can also be my faith. Where will it lead me in my faith? What or where is my path, my place, or my passion? So questions about direction and also passion is an interesting one. Discerning my passion, what is it that really excites and energizes me in this whole area of faith and serving God? Has God got a purpose for me? Will I like the answers? Right, so that's yes, that's where it comes into the anxiety thing sometimes. Will I learn a rhythm of prayer? Okay, that's an interesting one. Have an understanding of my calling. What will be next? Will I find peace? Yes, in this course, we don't so much develop a rhythm of prayer, although we do pray around the sessions.
Actually, the third of Saturday, it's much Christ. It's much best focus. There is talk about most of it was like.
Yes, thank you. So that will be probably sort of spring or summer, wouldn't it, next year, to focus particularly on that, because growing in our thinking, understanding, but also growing in our prayer life with God is equally important. Am I good enough? Will I be fulfilled? Right. What is next for me? The last one says, too many questions. I'm not quite sure if that means I've got too many to write down, or is it more that will there be too many questions that overwhelm me?
It's the prayer. It was me.
What? Do you mean that you have too many questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you have lots of questions, then the the question becomes, which is my priority, I suppose, when there's all kinds of things I could be asking, which ones for here and now, and which ones to save for another time. That can be one of the issues there. Anybody else want to chip in just on any of that? Anything there that either you said you want to amplify, or that someone else said that rang bells with you? Anything in all that?
Yeah, the one that somebody wrote on my put in. I was saying, these guys, when I hear of people speaking, I kind of feel, the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
I kind of feel like that.
Yes. Yeah, I think imposter syndrome is very common actually among a number of those who've just recently been ordained. It came up, I think, in the sermon at the ordinations last week. I think many of us, when we step into any kind of Christian ministry, often feel, what am I doing here? How can I be doing this?
You don't want to look back at fraud, because you're not a fraud. I mean, genuinely, you're not a fraud, that you don't want to look back to other people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and some of us may feel that we're just we can feel we're inadequate, or we can feel we don't know enough, or we can feel our faith isn't strong enough. There's all kinds of stuff there that can undermine and feed into that sense of I'm not good enough. So I think this is very common territory, familiar territory for many of us. Maybe more than you might realise. I was thinking I'm the only one with this imposter syndrome, but then when you get talking to people honestly, you realise you're definitely not the only one. Thank you. Anything either on that or similar or different you want to just take further? I'll keep hold of those and to get the questions and come back towards those later on. And you may find more questions emerge that you want to bring in, and that's absolutely fine.
I feel like a lot of those you can identify with. Once I read out, you might not have articulated them.
Yeah.
But actually think, oh yeah, I can. Yeah, that rings a bit with me. That rings a bit with me. That rings a bit with me.
Yeah, and a number of them repeated the same territories, I thought, and what for some is exciting, for others is more anxious, like some of this stuff about calling. Some people can be excited going forward with where God's taken me. Others, I'm anxious in case it doesn't make sense or it's too scary. That was in there, and I think that doesn't surprise me. It's a mixed bag of feelings, or even in yourself, you might have both excitement and anxiety in yourself, which is quite understandable. No, it's just my label. Next to it, just to show you where to put the thing.
General anxiety.
So that's general sense of anxiety. Maybe we'll get rid of that one now.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning in our staff meeting, people will wonder why anxiety on one of the pictures. Right, thank you. It's time for another break, and during that, I'd encourage you to have a look at the resource centre. Oh, here's this. Yes, just a good thing about why we study. Jesus asked, "What's the greatest commandment?" And in Jesus' kind of way, he answered and gave them two, not one. Drawing on the Old Testament, the famous second one, loving your neighbour; the first one, loving God with all that you are. And just to point out, in there is the mind. Love God with your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And really, that's saying with the whole of you, everything that you are, all the different aspects of what make you. Hi, Graham, welcome. So, loving God with all that you are, including your mind, is part of the reason why we believe thinking about our faith matters. And I think we'll just move past that one. I'll put the slides up afterwards on Moodle so you can see, but time's moving on. Just the different places where we do this theology. We do it in the classes, in these groups. We do it in conversations with each other. Sometimes in the breaks, conversations over the kettle. Actually, you're working out something about your faith with a fellow student. on your own when you do some reading and reflecting and writing. You're thinking it through there. But also on the job when you're involved out at work or at church or at home or in the community, then stuff comes up there that makes you think, what do I believe about this? Or how does my faith impact that? So these different places where we actually do theology. It's not just one of these, it's all of these that are involved. And there's this thing called theological reflection. I'll give you more on this on Wednesday when we meet. I'll send you an email today with the Zoom link for Wednesday. This cycle of reflection, we experience things, we think about them, we get them to relate to our faith. And out of that conversation, we work out what might I do differently in next time in this kind of situation. I'll leave that for now and we'll come back to that on Wednesday. We'll have a 5-minute break and just invite you to go and explore the resource centre if you've not yet.
Just to get you up and running with the online resource and resources that are available to you, that various people put on, so mostly your course, or would you call them, Bill, module leaders come through?
Yeah, modules, the whole thing's a course and the bits of it are modules, yeah.
Module tutors, leaders, whatever you may call them, they will add things that would be essential to the course that you're doing, and some things that are optional as well. So, but always very helpful material, and it's available online. So it's a case of getting you into the right place. I know one or two you had a few issues, but that's fine. That's why I'm here to put a face to a name, and I'm always available on email. Even at weekends, sometimes I pick up on weekends, and so don't worry about when you send an email, thinking I'll wake up in the middle of the night and looking at my emails. Please feel like you can connect with me. I work here full time, 9 to 5, so you can always ring me or connect via the other course leaders. So won't have time to go through your personal individual issues in this block, but certainly I'll be hanging around afterwards. I know Simon's had an issue, which I'll try, and Emma as well, but I'll try and work through a few things with you as individuals. But for this section, I'll just go through, and you can mostly listen, but feel free to ask questions as well as we go through, but maybe not about your individual login in details. So I've already logged in, but maybe I go back rolling back a step. I don't know what else to say. It was more of an intro to this. We use it for a lot of different things, but it is largely dedicated to the foundations course and one or two other things, Aurora, which is the youth and children's training. But with foundations, you only see there's the material that is pertinent to your course. And that is mostly, if you just click on My Learning, you'll see the courses that you've been enrolled onto. And as I say, I'll roll it back a little bit so I won't get into too much detail, but that's what we use this for, as I say, to put materials on for the various courses and modules that you'll be going through. So if I just log out, log in. So
Could you just go back a step further and just give us network so that we can follow you? Come on as the guest diocese, but
Oh, so you mean the Wi-Fi?
Oh, the Wi-Fi code, yeah.
Show there.
is it there?
So, Sheffield Guest 1.
Well, let me say this off, because you're around the corner. Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I should have said, if you want to follow along, feel free, and obviously you need to be on the Wi-Fi.
What's the password? Yes.
I'll give you a second to do that.
Yes, the network is Sheffield Diocese Guest. Then password is Sheffield Guest 1.
Sheffield Guest 1 with a capital S, all one word. Give us a shout when you're up and running.
Anybody else want that, or have you all got what we need? You okay?
Well done. Brilliant. Sure. So the link, the URL or the website is learning.stpeterscollege.org.uk. The St Peter's College, but don't worry about. We used to be called St Peter's College, and the domain that we're on is still that. So we've left it as it is. Not doing too much harm. So you should have a link for that in the email that I sent, but if in doubt, you could just Google Learning St Peter's College and it'll take you there. So when you get to this page, you just put your username that I've sent you. It's basically your first name dot surname, and then the password that I've sent you, and that should get you on. And you can either put the details in there, or there might be other ways of logging in further down. There's another login place at the bottom there, but generally just log in at that point. And that'll take you generally, I think, to this My Learning page directly. I'm not entirely sure. When you log in for the first time, you're asked to sign or tick off to say you've read every detail and every word of the privacy policy. But we know that you won't. You might do, and you're welcome to. But it basically just says that we have to treat your data with the greatest of respect and only use it for this particular purpose, not for anything else, which we do. Then you'll also be asked to make a new password. It's just for security reasons, so that nobody knows your password or can work it out. I gave you a unique password initially, but you know, you want your own, so it's secure. Then when you come into here, I've dished these out. I'll largely be following along this process, more for my own benefit than for yours, but I will work through this roughly in order, although I might hop about a little bit. So once you've logged in, the key to wherever you are, if you get lost, can't work out how, you know, where you are on the system, you can, this My Learning will always be there and you can always get back to it. The other thing is the breadcrumbs, what they call the breadcrumbs, where if you look where my mouse is, you can always get back to somewhere from there. It'll, depending on where you are, that'll change. And you can click on that to get back to various parts of the structure of the course that you're on. You'll notice that there are 3 courses, even though you're only doing 1, and that'll increase. There'll be another 2 to add to that, because there's Introduction to the Bible, that's term 1. Then the other 2 terms will also appear on there. But to make it a little bit easier to find your way around, I've created this thing called Central Hub, which, if you just imagine, that's a place where everything else goes off from. So you could start there, and if you click off that, then you've got everything there that you would need for this course, which is a workbook, which is like don't know what we're calling it exactly, but it's basically
study skills.
Study skills.
Some of us are quite experienced with studying. Some of us haven't studied this way for a long time. So it's yeah, it's an introduction to how to study and some of the aspects involved in that.
Absolutely. So I don't know whether it's assume it's sort of compulsory that you work through that. I don't know what you've been told about this. There is a printed version of it, like you can print it off, but largely would want you to work through the online version. and maybe use the PDF as more of just a guide and something that you can follow. You can print it off or not print it off, but you only really need this online workbook, which I'm guessing will cover a little bit. Yeah, I've highlighted that in this the 3 sections. So just jumping into that, before we do that, you've got a lovely video that I did a couple of years ago, so it's slightly out of date, but hardly noticeable. Yeah, some of the images have changed, but I would definitely encourage you to watch that. It should be fairly intuitive to find your way around, but we know with these systems, they're not always that easy. So if you watch that, that'll largely tell you what I'm going through now. But if you don't want to watch it, it's always there as a reminder if you need to. Then the other things on here are documents, which things like well, why don't we go in and have a look? The handy guide, which is this. The workbook, which is the workbook, the PDF of that, the dates that are important, and you can add files if you wish to add files, your own personal files, and then you can view people on the course as well. So if you want to contact them directly through here, through Moodle, then you can. So those documents, when we have the course handbook, that'll go up here as well, and any other things that we've are general documents that would be applicable generally rather than specific to a module. And the module specific documents will appear in the module area, as you'd imagine. So that's that. Then don't know, most years we put anything related to the induction slides. Here there is also searching Google Books, online safeguarding training, which people still need to do that.
Yeah, we
guess you've mentioned it.
Yeah.
And that's a link to that if needed. A little bit of information about that. So if you need to know where you need to go with that, that'll take you to the online portal. And then there's a helpful video there about evaluating internet sources. So you may need to wish to watch that. That's the induction, but we'll also, normally we put slides up there. And if you are recording the session, then that'll go up there as a session recording. All sessions are generally recorded, and therefore you'll be able to watch them back. You forget stuff, or if you're not able to attend a particular session, then you're also able to watch it. So all sessions will be recorded. And then you've got your term 1, term 2, and term 3. Links out to there. So that's the central hub. And that's hopefully reasonably easy to find your way around that. I'll just go into the workbook. I won't do everything in that, but I'll just introduce it. You basically get a link. You can download the PDF if you want, and then go to the online workbook. And this, in effect, is taking you to another course, and that's shown here. It says Foundations Intro Workbook for this year. I'll just show you this navigation drawer. There's a few things that you might find useful. I've completed the workbook as an individual. I mean, Peter has. And all these things are ticked off. So you can follow your progress through the workbook. You can see which bits you've done, which you haven't. And you can also see there are ticks, again, showing you which sections you've completed. So let's start. And we'll just pick on one of these. This is a way for you to plan your time and for you to enter information. You can do activities. I don't know what I'll have in here, so it might be a bit embarrassing. I think I'll probably just I say I've finished this. I haven't really. All I've done is tapped in like a load of nonsense. But you can edit or start it for the first time. Actually, I haven't typed anything in there. But the idea is that you complete it better than I've done. And this is going to help you to just prepare yourselves for the course.
The purpose of the workbook isn't for you to research stuff about theology or anything of that. It's particularly there for people who perhaps haven't been in study for a while, and to help you get your head around what it means to take notes, have available space in your diary, who's going to support you. So it's questions to help you ask yourself about what you need to do.
Absolutely, and those are the 5 areas: time allocation, pastoral support, prayer and spirituality, study skills that Bill mentioned, and then theological reflection, which I think you also mentioned in the last session. So, and again, you've got the option to download. It's the same PDF as was available on the previous section. So that's that. You've always got the option around here to go back to the hub or the course page. So if you click on that, I'll take you back to.
Just what did you click on there? Knowing the routes is often crucial, isn't it? Which bit did you click on to go back?
Yeah, just a button saying return to.
Return, okay. That and the breadcrumbs at the top, I often find.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a few ways to get back to where you're supposed to be, but usually you can find a button that says return there at the top of any module. You can use these, or you can go to My Learning and get back that way, which is just central hub.
But the layout on, you've got 3 things down vertically on the My Learning site page, My Learning. But on my screen, I've only got 2 things laid out horizontally on that. Yeah. I just noticed it's different to what you've got there. You've got something about autumn. So I've got Foundation Central Hub, and then next to it horizontally, Foundations in Introductory Workbook. So someone else is like that. Yeah, everybody seems to. But it's laid out.
You'll be looking at exactly the same thing I'm looking at. So
no, yours is 3 like that, and ours are 2 like that. The bricks. So now have a look.
It's just I mean, if I change my screen size.
It's on My Learning site pages. My Learning, where the breadcrumbs are, the top.
Oh yeah, if you go to My Learning, that's what you get. Yeah.
See, we've not got it like that. We've got 1 there and 1 there, and you've got 3 bricks like that. We've got 2 like that.
Which one are you missing of those 3?
It's the autumn 24 introduction that's not on, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I should have told you. You're not enrolled onto that yet.
Yeah.
Because we've not set that up for you.
Yeah. So that's the module. That's the page for my module, which is in process, but it's not yet released.
So when it's released, then we'll have a 3rd.
Yeah. And, I mean, the view of it might change because you can change from list to grid and things like that.
But still just got 2.
Yeah, that's the confusion. Yeah. We haven't made that available.
Right.
Yeah. Between now and the start of the module, it's to look at the workbook is the main project.
Yeah.
And over the summer we'll get the Intro to Bible one more ready, and then that will become visible to you at the start of September.
Yeah, if you went to there, mostly you'll get into here via here. You know, we'll get into the modules. So when you click on that, it says not yet available. Yeah. I mean, it is to me, but just it was actually I set myself, I enrolled this person onto it just so I could show you. But I didn't want you going in and then getting confused with it. I mean, I could enroll you. You could have a look round, but obviously when it's not ready, it'll probably be more confused than anything else.
And some people might try and do everything all at
and you might start reading things that you don't need to read and that sort of thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. All the dates have been changed, so that's set up. And again, there's documents and everything. So, trying to think where I'd go to. I think that I'd done the workbook, hadn't I? And then the only other one was the module page, which we've been helpfully directed onto, which I was coming to, and I probably would have noticed that it wasn't available at that point. So just a few things. So if you saw how I got into that, I just clicked on the module, even though it says not yet available. If you try to click on it, it just bounces you straight back to the same page. But like term 2 doesn't go anywhere; it just stays where it is. Whereas term 1 for me, this will become available in probably the next week or so. But when you do click on it, when it is available, when you're enrolled onto it, this is what you get. So module documents, and in here you'll get like a, well, there's a reader list, which I've updated just on Friday. I'll just introduce you to that. So the reader list, this is just a bunch of books relating to this, to the module, Introduction to the Bible. And you can see most of them will have something next to it. So you can borrow that from the Resource Centre, which you just managed to have a look at. Google, there was an issue with a security problem we've just looked at, although it didn't seem to cause, mine didn't seem to have a security problem, but one or two of you, or 2 or 3 of you have come across, what did it say? Just not secure.
Have a look.
Site not
Got it.
secure.
Yeah, I'll show you. Have a look at it.
We'll have a look later, maybe. And who else had that problem? Yeah, I mean, I've not seen a problem, but we can maybe have a look at it later. But the other thing is, the really good thing here is we've got access to the Church of England hub, which is like full of loads and loads of ebooks. So that's a specific link to this particular ebook. But when you're on this section, this area, and you'll notice that it opens up in a separate tab there. So when you're finishing, just close it down. And then if you want to go back, you can just click on that tab, which will take you back to where you were. So it's not, the back one wouldn't work, but that's the tab that it opens. And then you've got the full book to read online. Obviously saves you a lot of time trying to find it in the resource centre or borrowing it off somebody, whatever you might do. And there's loads of these, and you can go to these online books. And let's say you're interested in a particular book, or you'd seen one, or somebody recommends one. You can search all those books and put the author in or the title, and you'll be able to find a particular book to read. So it's a really good resource, very good. And as I say, most of the books are either available as ebooks to borrow, and the other thing that we do is scan excerpts, and those excerpts appear as PDFs connected to the session or the module that the module leader will sort out. That's quite common as well. So generally, we won't leave you scrabbling around trying to figure out where to get materials from. So that's the module. Then there's the exercises. So homework, we try and be a bit careful at what vocabulary we use, because it's not, we don't want to make this course over academic, but it's basically an exercise, and we ask you to reflect on certain things and write things down, and then we have to submit them. So if I just work through this, there is a help here. So there's a video on that. So again, we're trying to be really helpful to make sure you're able to easily do the things that we're asking you to do. The details of the exercises, I'm not sure I'm necessarily probably up to date. Yeah. So it's got the date, the completion date, what you have to do,
etc.
We'll look at some of this on Wednesday night. I've just sent you an email which has this course outline on it, and we'll work through a bit of that on Wednesday night when we're online together.
And then when you do need to upload it, basically you've done it usually in a Word document, but then there are other options, like you could do a recording, audio recording, or even a video. But it'll be something on your computer. You then go into this section, which is to upload your assignment. And again, as I say, there's videos on this if I'm going too fast or you're not able to follow it or whatever. So at the time when you have to do this, you know, it should still be easy to do. Then you press Add Submission, and you get this box here, which you can either drag and drop a document into it from your File Explorer, or you can press this button up here, which is like a plus sign or an add sign, choose File, and then you just choose your document that you want to add. That's your faces that I was working with the other day. So you just choose a document, let's say this one, and then it'll just add it to the box.
Will we get feedback on anything we submit through this, or will you give us feedback?
Yes, all the exercises we give individual feedback on them. And does this give you acknowledgement that it's been received? You get a
you get like an email to say that it's been
landed successfully, kind of.
Well, I don't know whether you get an email to say it's been submitted, but you can tell when it's been submitted. So when you say upload file, you can see it's there. Then you obviously save the changes. And then you can check, just do one last check to see that it's definitely been done. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is the module leader will go in, look at it, and give you feedback, usually through the same document. I think you maybe open the document, type in feedback, and then upload the document with feedback. So
yeah, well, I tend to write my feedback and then email it to the individual, but also to Graham, and he can put it in the system.
Yeah. It's just so that it's all available. It's all in one place. Yeah. But yeah, you will get feedback and you will get notification that it's ready to read. So that's the the exercise upload. And like to get back, as I say, you just go to there using the breadcrumbs, and then just the other thing to point out is all of these sessions are available to look at, and there'll be different things for different sessions. Zoom links are often posted on here as well, I think. So you'll get those via email. And then at the end of the course, we'll ask you to do a module evaluation where it's specific to this module. And you just fill that in, and we've got good feedback. And over the years, we do find feedback, as you'd expect, very helpful, and it really helps us to it influences the experience for other students and other learners going forward. So we really would appreciate your feedback to us. So that's the 3 sections. And again, to go back, there's the link there. So to get back to the main hub, there we are, and you can see that the 3 modules that are available. So it's mostly everything, just 1 or 2 other things. We've looked at the hub resources. There's sometimes a button, sometimes isn't, to just go direct to the hub. But you can get to it via any of those links in the reader list. And as I say, you can search books there, which there's a growing number of books. Storing files, you can save files. I mean, probably you won't, most people don't, you just store them on your computer in the normal way.
But if you did want to have files specific to your course and you want them in one place, you can, I think there's like a private files section here at the bottom, which you can add your files to in the same way as uploading an assignment, an exercise. You can just drop files in or add them that way. And if you just wanted all your files in one place, then you can use that. Nobody else will be able to see those.
Those files, can you put like in Word files and PDF files, or do they have to be sort of a special sort of Moodle file?
No, absolutely. There must be Word or PDF. I think Word is the best one in terms of an assignment, because then that allows the module leader to go in and make comments. The PDF, you can't really do that very easily. So, yeah, Word is the best. You can.
And so you do it normal on your computer in Word.
Yeah.
And then how you go into the manage private files, and
yeah,
what do you press to get it?
You do, ignore the private files for that particular thing. In terms of uploading your assignment exercise, then you have to be in the module. So you're in the module page.
If you want to, yeah, got.
And then it's exercise submission area, and then there's upload exercise 1 or 2, and then you just add it that way. The private files is probably a red herring, really. Some people have used it over the years, but not many.
Can you put Word documents in there if you want?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not up to be a special sort of.
No, it has to be Word or a PDF. Yeah, there's only certain file types that it allows you to upload, but it could be an audio file, an MP3, I think, or maybe even a video. So the only other thing was just to point out that if it's of any help, there are accessibility help. So this is for our website, but there's a lot of support there for people with any sort of need for these accessibility support for a computer, a website or whatever. And then the only other thing would be the computer skills. If you did want to brush up on computer skills, you can click there, and there's lots of tutorials in something called GCF Global, which is all free, and it gives you basics. Depending on what level you're at, you might want to go in the absolute basic or somewhere further down. But you could have a look at that if you think, oh, I could brush up on my computer basics. There's also support there for things like Word or Excel and lots of other things. But we just thought we'd point that out to give you a support for that sort of thing. Right, so I'm going to shut up and ask if you've got any questions other than the ones you've already asked.
I was only enrolled on Friday, so will this the information to set this up, and that will back to me at a later date, or?
I'm pretty sure I sent that out to you. You've not received it. Yeah, okay. Pretty sure I sent it out on Friday, but check. But it was last minute. So I can understand either you've not seen it, or they do sometimes from MailChimp go into spam or junk. So you could check that first.
I did do.
Yeah,
Friday.
no problem. So it's
That's Ryan and Rebecca again, is it? Yeah, there's this, because I've had issues with the resource centre there, so if you can check Ryan and Rebecca particularly, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I know I sent it out, or at least I intended to send it out for you two specifically, because you were added after everybody else. Have you got anything else that you're covering in this before everybody goes?
A few minutes to round off, Toby, 5 minutes at the end, or
Well, I think there's other questions. But if you'd like to close this in prayer when we walk down to
yeah, in a minute. But
I always think that that there's a lot to take in, particularly when you're looking at kind of computers and stuff. So it was great at present.
yeah, we will look at the module, the first term module. We'll look at that a bit on Wednesday night, and I've emailed you the outline. So some of what Graham was whizzing through there, like the reading lists and so on, you should all now have that on an email, and we'll get some attention on Wednesday.
Do you have an email for Ryan and Rebecca for that?
Yeah, I think everyone's on that. If not, we'll see.
I've resent it today.
Yeah, just about an hour ago.
What passport?
An hour ago, yeah. So hopefully you two both got that. And also on Wednesday, we'll look a bit more at how we learn, some of the issues and barriers about learning. Yeah, over the summer, the thing we encourage you to do is just to work on that workbook about the one that Graham showed you there. You can work on a Word or PDF copy, or else it's probably easiest to work on the online one. But just remind yourself, how am I going to manage this course in time and support areas, and getting back into studying, and then we launch into the actual module on the Bible once we reach September. But any other questions for Graham while he's here, because he's the guru on stuff. So do ask him if you've got other questions about Moodle and getting into it. Nope. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Graham, for being here. Much appreciated.
Pleasure. Nice to meet everybody.
If, like me, people's questions come up an hour too late, they can probably email you and say, this is what I should have asked you during the session. Yeah, is there anything else generally that we need to think about before we finish? I'll just this back on if I can. Re-emerge. Toby's computer may have gone to sleep. Let's see if we can. Keep it down. Toby, can you just wake this one up so I can get the slides back on screen? This is your one, isn't it? So doesn't recognise me. I don't look like you.
Graham removes the
Hang on, because it's set.
Yeah.
I'm just now, so the one that is my computer that next bit of it's settled. Oh, yes.
There we go. Right.
The next.
So that's that. We've done that one. Good. Well, thank you very much for being here and for engaging. So a lot to get your heads around. If you haven't got it all, don't worry. If you get home and think, help, I don't understand that bit, then do drop a line to it's about my module to myself. Susanna's away this week, so she's not available. Graham is around this week, so he is there. Let's close with this prayer. You may have come across this. It's become the sort of go-to prayer for our diocese. When Bishop Pete first arrived, did a lot of listening and talking, consulting, and working out what are our priorities for the diocese in the coming years, and came up with these 3 R's of renew, release, and rejuvenate. Then asked someone at the cathedral who came up with this prayer to kind of draw them together. So let's just, we'll close with this in a moment. Let's just take a moment, be still, quiet. And let's bring to God things, particularly from the post-it notes, things that we wrote or that other people wrote that rang a bell. You find something from that about your excitement, your anxieties, your questions, and take that to God in a moment of quiet. And Lord, we thank you for the excitement of this new adventure, the challenge of it. Put ourselves to you as we move ahead with this course. Pray also for those around us, pray especially for those on your table today. It's something that they've shared in the course of the afternoon. Pray for them. So let's pray this prayer together, going with me in it. Living God,
Jesus calls his followers to see about your kingdom. Renew us as we make your love known. Release us to share freely together in mission. Rejuvenate us to be fruitful in your service. Give us courage, wisdom, and compassion. The strength of the grace of the Holy Spirit, we may, as the Diocese of Sheffield, both flourish and grow through Christ our Lord.